Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Boxer Boxing. Now, man, wild stuff, man. Canelo Alvarez back at it again. Canelo likes pissing the hardcore boxing fans off, man. And the PBC came out and said, man, we're not going to give in to Canelo Alvarez's demands. And they said that they weren't going to play Canelo's rules because Canelo Alvarez was demanding just stipulations in the contract that wouldn't make any sense, right? For the Caleb Plant Canelo Alvarez fight. Now, before I get into the details of Canelo Alvarez, man, Canelo Alvarez has had a lot of problems with promotional companies ever since pre-De La Hoya. Pre-De La Hoya, Canelo Alvarez was signed to a promotion company, and he was bought out by Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya later on in Canelo's career had to actually pay up tens of millions of dollars to the promotion company because they still had promotional rights under Canelo Alvarez. Then, that being said, Canelo Alvarez infamously had a problem with Oscar De La Hoya, and Oscar De La Hoya came out against Canelo more than once, right? Said that you need to fight Jamal Charlo to become great and Demetrius Andrade to become great. You know, he had my boy Bernard Hopkins come out and say that he needed to do the same thing as well. Bernard Hopkins used to work for Oscar De La Hoya and GOLDENBOY Promotions, and he's basically a figurehead and a spokesperson and representative of Oscar De La Hoya and friends. So when he came out and said those things, that's not just Bernard Hopkins' word, it's Oscar De La Hoya's word. Why? Because he's an employee of Oscar De La Hoya. Now, that being said, man, you know, that's one promoter right there we got a problem with GOLDENBOY Promotions, right? It was such a bad fallout that Canelo Alvarez went with the zone, right? He left Oscar De La Hoya because there was problems with him and Oscar De La Hoya financially and just personal wise. They didn't like each other, right? So Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo then broke up. Canelo Alvarez went to the zone. The zone was so quote unquote paying him all this money. Then the pandemic hit, and the zone's like, man, listen, we can't be paying you this kind of money to fight these bums. It was so bad, in fact, that Canelo Alvarez had to sue the zone for trying to deduct his pay, right? So that was wild stuff. And then the zone countersued, saying that, hey man, we can't have you fight these bums. We're gonna have to pick your fighters. These bums are not worth the kind of money we're paying you, right? Which led Canelo Alvarez to fulfill his contractual obligation to the zone, and now he's become a free agent, right? If Canelo Alvarez and the zone still had a good relationship, they'll still be signed to each other, right? The zone will be still working with Canelo Alvarez and still be paying him the kind of money he was asking for, but he's a free agent for a reason. So, you know, that being said, man, everyone's watched what happened with Canelo Alvarez and his moves, his quote-unquote superstar moves, and along the way, Canelo Alvarez has been burning bridges. You know, these promotions have a stable of fighters. Understand that boxing is not in a vacuum. You need a stable of fighters. You can't just have one big name on a card and everyone else is trash. A lot of people, they see one big fight and they said, okay, but what about the rest of the card, right? Canelo Alvarez doesn't understand that boxing is an ecosystem and it's not just alpha on top that's devouring everything else, right? Canelo Alvarez needs to play ball with these promoters because everyone's already seeing the back and forth with every other promoter he ever had, and it's not looking good for Canelo Alvarez. That being said, man, that gets me back to Caleb Plant and Canelo Alvarez and Canelo Alvarez's crazy demands of saying if Caleb Plant gets hurt, Caleb Plant can't fight, right? And Caleb Plant has to basically wait for, if Caleb Plant gets hurt, Canelo can move on and Canelo will get paid as if he fought Caleb Plant. But if Canelo gets hurt, you know, he could just move on. So that was the wild stuff from Canelo Alvarez, and then he was trying to impose on Caleb Plant, and that's just the kind of loss that PBC don't want to take because Caleb Plant has known to get hurt. So if Caleb Plant gets hurt in a fight, Canelo could literally just move on and with his career and still get paid as if he was fighting Caleb Plant. which is shocking stuff. So PBC already seen the games he played with Oscar De La Hoya. PBC, he already seen the games that that happened with his own. It led to 2 legal battles with Canelo Alvarez. PBC is not playing that game. They're gonna work with a position of power. This is not the first time Canelo has had problems. So these demands are that they have to go to court every time Canelo Alvarez is out of line, man. He's burning bridges as well, because he can only do this so many times until no one's gonna work with him, right? Outside of his own, outside of Oscar De La Hoya, outside of PBC, there's only one other big promotion company outside of all that, really, and that's Top Rank. And Top Rank has had a lot of problems with just getting money out for their best fighters. Now, me personally, I think Terrence Crawford is the best fighter over there at Top Rank, but let's keep it honest. Terrence Crawford is not going to be over there for long with Top Rank, and Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko is the biggest name. And right now, I still think that Bob Arum prefers Vasily Lomachenko, and Lomachenko had to pay his opponents extra money so they can fight him, right? When Vasily Lomachenko fought Teofimo Lopez, he had to give Lopez extra money so he can actually fight the kid. He had to give him a part of his purse. So that was shocking stuff. I still remember Nicholas Walters when he fought Vasily Lomachenko. They had to starve out Nicholas Walters for a while and then finally pay him up, right? There's always a paying problem with Top Rank. That's why a lot of people sign out their contract, because they're just not getting paid. These top fighters aren't getting paid what you think they're getting paid. They're getting paid hundreds of thousands, not even multi-millions. So that being said, man, Canelo Alvarez is backing himself into a wall. He thinks he's so great and so good, but understand, he can only go so many places. There's not an unlimited amount of promoters in boxing with a deep stable that has a lot of fighters for you to select from. Fighting a fighter here and there, it's only gonna work so long. And only so many people are gonna come out of pocket for those big fights. So, man, that being said, man, Canelo Alvarez, yeah, man, people were saying it's DIVA. He's coming out with these DIVA demands, and you know what? Suing everyone you ever worked with promotionally, it's DIVA, man. Like I said, pre De La Hoya, he had a promotion company that sued Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez. They had to pay up. Canelo sued and got over the problems with Oscar De La Hoya, and the same thing with his own, right? It was all legal battles between all 3 of those promoters, and PBC, the world already seen it. We already seen this game before. We already seen this played out. We're not trying to see another legal battle again, because we all know what time it is. The Canelo fans are gonna defend Canelo no matter what. This guy could be burned down, and Canelo could do it. He can have a gun. Someone could be dead right there. Canelo could have the gun, and then people say he committed suicide. I mean, sometimes you can't tell these Canelo fans nothing, right? So that's how I see it, man. I've seen too many legal battles with Canelo Alvarez. I think he needs to chill out on that. He needs to play ball with some promoter, because he's burning bridges, man. And if, God forbid, but, if these promoter companies want to do that, they could box Canelo out. They could really box him out and just not work with the kid anymore. And he'd be stuck to fighting in Mexico or something like that. Because people can't afford, $40 million checks for Canelo Alvarez. I mean, and this is career high paydays. So, the money isn't the problem. It's purely pride. The money is not the problem. Because this, like I said, career high payday. Out of Oscar De La Hoya, DAZN, and, previous promoters, this would be the highest payday for Canelo Alvarez fighting Caleb Plant, and he still found a problem with it. This shows the experience of his camp. Say what you want about Eddie Hearn, but he got a lot of big fights for Canelo Alvarez, right? Made him fight Liam Smith, made him fight Billy Dos Santos. I can go on and on about top fights that Eddie Hearn made happen for Canelo Alvarez. His team is trying to do it for him. They're gonna find a reason to get it messed up, because they're not professionals like the Bob Arums, the Oscar De La Hoyas. Say what you want about them, but they're getting fights done. That's why they have a successful promotion company. Canelo Alvarez, why he has his own promotion company, I think it's called Canelo Alvarez Promotions. I don't know the name of it. I'm just making something up. But I know he has his own promotion company for sure, right? He doesn't have any superstar names. He doesn't have a deep stable. So he's still a noob in the game. So we're going to see how this whole thing plays out, man. Canelo Alvarez, his team is still just, level 1 right now. my boy Al Heyman's 99. He's definitely the best promoter in the U.S. because the second best promoter is Top Rank, and they're barely having enough money to scrounge up to fight Terrence Crawford or Shawn Porter. They basically have to let the contract in with Terrence Crawford to really put big money up on Terrence Crawford, because at this point in his career, the reason why they put big money on Terrence Crawford now is because there's a good chance he could lose a fight with Shawn Porter, right? When it's at the end of someone's career, there's no point in protecting the guy anymore. There's no point in protecting your investment when the guy only has 1 or 2 fights left in your career on the contract with Top Rank. So there's no reason to protect Terrence Crawford anymore because he's about to leave. In fact, you actually want him fighting the best of the best because this contract's gonna end. Anyway, man, that's how I see it. Let me know you guys see it. Do you guys think Canelo Alvarez is doing too much with this Caleb Plant thing? You guys think he's being a diva? Let me know you guys feel about it though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geobox Empire. Bitch. Geobox Empire. Bitch.